We're going deep diving in the waiver wire to come up with the top 10 diamonds in the rough coming up next on Beat the Odds. Don't go anywhere. Hello sports fans, welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. We are going to take a deep dive on the waiver wire to find our diamonds in the rough here for the week. If you like this type of content, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification button so that way you do not miss an episode. As a quick reminder, we are looking for players who are owned in 25% or less. Also, we do have a subscriber giveaway in its final days. We are opening this contest until Sunday. If you're interested here, check out the episode on YouTube. All right, let's dive right in here. At number 10, we are going to Colorado. Brenton Doyle, 8% owned. Last week had 3 runs, 4 runs batted in, a stolen base, 250 average. The bad with Brenton Doyle, he strikes out 38% of the time. That's really bad. The good, well, he plays for Colorado, so he hits in Coors Field. He's now taken over for Randall Grichuk out in the field. He's on a 35 homer and 60 stolen base pace here, over 162. He's obviously not going to get there. But if we can get a reduced K rate here from Doyle, I really do like his ceiling. He's somebody that I would consider picking up, especially in deep leagues. Let's go to number 9, KENDALL GRAVEMAN, 20% owned. Last week he had 4 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts, 2 saves, 0 ERA, 0.75 whip. He had a disastrous April, but he's got a much better May under his belt here so far with a 2.31 ERA and 0.77 whip with 4 saves. Now, Hendricks, of course, is on the precipice of a return, and that when that happens here, he will be taking over that closer position. But Graveman still has some value, and especially in leagues that count holds, I wouldn't be dropping him that quickly. We have to see kind of how Hendricks returns, or how he looks upon his return. Let's go to number 8, Yan Gomes, 16% owned. 2 runs batted in, 250 average here last week, batting 8th in Chicago. 35-year-old catchers typically don't catch my eye, but Gomes has been barreling balls this year, and he doesn't typically strike out as much as he used to. So there is some sneaky value here, especially if you're in 2-catcher leagues or if you're sitting on a catcher that just isn't performing all that well for you. Give Gomes a look. He may end up doing well there for you. Let's go to number 7, Heimer Candelario, 10% owned, 4 runs, 2 homers, 4 runs batted in, 458 average here last week, batting 3rd in that Washington order. Typically playing in Washington will cause a player to go overlooked. Candelario is batting in the middle of that order, and he's got an 890 OPS so far in May. If he can keep this up, he certainly won't be overlooked for long. Let's move to number 6, Braxton Garrett, 12% owned. Last week he had 6.1 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, no ERA, 0.32 whip. Statcast certainly doesn't like him, but typically Statcast doesn't like left-handed soft tossers. It's not really its forte. Control is certainly key with Braxton Garrett. And Garrett is 91 in the 91 percentile in walk percentage. So that certainly works well in his favor. 15 of the 22 earned runs that he has let in has come in 2 games in early May. If you take those out here, Garrett's ERA drops from 4.60 for the year all the way down to 1.89. So keep that in mind here when you're considering Braxton Garrett. Let's move along here to number 5, Paul DeJong, 31% owned, so a little higher than that cutoff there, but I wanted to include him on this list. 10 runs here last week, 4 homers, 11 runs batted in, 2 stolen bases, 304 average, batting 7th in St. Louis. We have been here before with DeJong, 30 homers in 2019, although it came with a 233 average. Now he's got 3 stolen bases so far in the year. That is nice, but don't think that you're getting a 5-tool player here. You ride him while he's hot, dump him when he's not. He is a very, very streaky hitter and could make or potentially break, and I'm betting on break a season if you leave him on your lineup for too long. Let's move to number 4, Spencer Steer, 12% owned. Last week he had 4 runs, 1 homer, 4 runs batted in, 320 average, batting 3rd in Cincinnati. He's got good exit velocities. He doesn't chase a whole lot of pitches, and he's got above average sprint speed. And of course, he's hitting in a prominent spot in the Cincinnati lineup. I'm very shocked at how low Spencer Steer's ownership is at this point. He kind of profiles as a 270 hitter with 20 homers, possibly 10 or 15 stolen bases, with the potential for a good stack of runs and runs batted in. There's certainly worse that you can do out on the waiver wire than Spencer Steer right now. Let's move to number 3, Owen Miller, 17% owned, 4 runs, 2 homers, 3 runs batted in, 2 steals last week, 400 average, batting, well, all over the lineup here in Milwaukee. He's contact oriented. He doesn't hit for a ton of power traditionally, doesn't walk a whole lot, which is kind of unfortunate for a contact hitter. And right now, as mentioned, he's hitting all around the lineup. He's hitting as low as 7th or 8th. He's hit in the leadoff spot. He currently, I think, was 4th in the last game. I think he's best suited in the number 2 hole. If he gets to that point here with Milwaukee, I think that suits his talents a little bit better. Especially if he can continue hitting like he's hitting right now with the way that he's hitting for contact. The 84% sprint speed doesn't hurt there as well, and especially could be useful if he's hitting atop that lineup. Let's go to number 2. We got Michael Soroka, 19% owned. In AAA so far this year, he's pitched 35 innings at a 4.33 ERA, 1.34 WHIP, 1-2, 1 win, 2 losses. 35 strikeouts isn't that bad. We have featured Soroka before, so I'm not going to really dig in too much to the numbers. I'll just kind of say that if you take a look at Soroka's profile, it looks very similar to a Tony Gonsolin. And even in the scenario here, pitching for quality teams, if you feel confident rostering Tony Gonsolin, then you should really consider rostering Mike Soroka there as well. And of course, the key thing about this argument is Gonsolin is already rostered in 87% of leagues. So I think that Soroka, if he can pitch the way that he has in the past, is worthy of a spot. Last but not least, at number 1, Mickey Moniak, 19% owned, 2 runs, 2 homers, 5 runs batted in, 400 average, batting first in Los Angeles. Taylor Ward is pretty much on the outs in that lead-up spot. We've, of course, featured Taylor Ward on the drop list. In the 10 games that Moniak has played, he has amassed 31 at-bats, and all of them are at the leadoff spot. So, of course, when you think of that here, he's hitting ahead of Trout and Ohtani. That should be enough to get you interested to put Mickey Moniak on your roster. And that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it here. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We are going to sign off for now, but we're going to catch you guys on our next episode.